And welcome to another episode of Dissenter News. And before we get to the news, I just wanted to show you this is a new instance of Gab that I've been working on for myself and those who, like me, have been deplatformed on other platforms. But the reason that this is different than Gab is we're going to feature in the group section a bot that helps us create RSS feeds for various other new YouTube channels, BitChute channels primarily, and other news sites. We have the new Descent Watch news feed is going to have its own RSS feed here on GabHub, the Cardinals GabHub. We're going to have a GabHub news bot for the Liberalists, Daily Wire, CNN News, Fox News, AP, Breitbart, Summit News for those who are fans of Paul Joseph Watson, InfoWars, and for BitChute channels we have Shoe on Head, Blair White's YouTube channel, Count Dankula's BitChute channel, which includes his own channel and Electric Boogaloo. I added Magog of Morscar because he has great comedic content, and if you just want something that's light, funny, and very entertaining, Magog is top kicks. Paul Joseph Watson is on here, as well as Tim Poole, The Thinkery, Sargon of Akkad, and my own channel is on here. Now, the great thing about coming on to GabHub is I want to attract other creators. You're going to have, if you are a creator and you have the threat of the axe looming over your head, feel free to contact me through my channel or through any other means that you can, and I will get you your own group and your own newsfeed here on Carnal's GabHub. Now, what's particularly awesome about this GabHub is I get to manage it and moderate it as I see fit, and that's what makes it as awesome as it is. And here I'm going to show you what we're all about. And where's it at? Well, I'll get to that later. But since we're here to do Dissenter News, let's go to our first article. The Babylon Bee. Yes, this is satire, just as a disclaimer. This is satire, so no one get their panties in a wad. The Babylon Bee publishes that the Southern Law Poverty Center adds itself to a list of hate groups. In an update Wednesday to its Hate Watch blog, the Southern Poverty Law Center announced the newest addition to its authoritative list of hate groups, the Southern Poverty Law Center. We have identified an organization with a clear history of rank intolerance towards faith communities based solely on their sincerely held religious convictions, the statement reads. Quote, this organization has encouraged ostracism and threats towards people, politicians, and businesses that do not adhere to its rigid progressive agenda and has existed and operated right under our noses for years. It is known as the Southern Poverty Law Center, SPLC. Now that we have identified our very own organization as a hate group and added the SPLC to the, quote, extremist files section of our website, we will oppose ourselves and our radical agenda with vigor, and we will slander and boycott any person or group that associates with us or cites our intolerant, anti-Christian, politics-driven list of so-called hate groups. We will also be in open litigation. We will also be opening new litigation against ourselves for defamation, libel, and human rights violations. At publishing time, the press was still unsure how to deal with the paradox. God bless you, Southern Babylon Bee, if only. But, as always, it is not sufficient that I read to you the satire article. We're here to read the dissenters. First comment 10 hours ago, what took them so long? First thing the SPLC has ever done that I agree with, I sure hope Snopes doesn't tell me this is fake news. That would make me sad. The SPLC is a domestic terrorist organization. It finally did something correct. I'm disappointed that it's not true. Too funny, I want more of this. Yes, all of us do. All of us want more of this. If only they were honest. It's a satire site, you retards. Learn to read more than the headline. Yeah, I think, CB, that all of us know that this is satire. That's the glory of it, is, we actually get the joke. Now, in this Dissenter news, as per usual, there is a flood of Tim Poole, which is ironic because everyone keeps saying that Gavin Dissenter is this alt-right circle jerk where people don't listen to the left. Well, Tim Poole is admittedly a center leftist, so let's take his straight pride video real quick.
The Straight Pride Parade took place a few days ago. It was the same day as an event that I was speaking at called Minds in Real Life. And at the rally, there were many arrests. Several police officers were injured. There was a decent amount of arrests. Now you have stories coming out saying, we need to call Antifa domestic terrorists and all this stuff. And you have stories coming out about the march itself. But what you see on the screen is not, first, it's not about the Straight Pride Parade, but I'm going to get into this. It's about a man named Vermin Supreme and how he got Trump voters to chant that they wanted to suck Trump's. Yes, you get it. They literally did. And there's a video of it. And the Trump supporters, and I think even some Proud Boys, are happily chanting. Okay, it's at like the 14-minute mark. Happily chanting that they want to suck Trump's C. I guess because of the sexual nature, I have to be careful about how I, talk about this. But it's really obvious. Vermin Supreme, for those who don't know, this guy right here, he wears a boot on his head. He carries a giant toothbrush. He is a satirical presidential candidate. I've interviewed him several times. I know him. He's a pretty good dude. He's a funny guy. But I think he's a relic of a time when the left embraced satire and silliness, something they're not doing so much anymore, especially at the Straight Pride Parade, which we'll get into next. What I really wanted to talk about with this is how the left seems to have lost the understanding, lost the humor that Vermin Supreme once brought to the left. Look, he carries a toothbrush, and he's like mandatory toothbrushing laws with a boot on his head, and he's a funny guy, and he's pretty far left. But when you look at this video, you can see some tweets around this where they're like, oh my God, I can't believe Trump supporters did this. And the Trump supporters are laughing because they know it's a joke, and they don't take things so seriously. It's just silly. It's fun. It's a party. And they're having fun with Vermin Supreme. Now, Vermin, I believe, has actually insulted many of these people. When we go over now to the Straight Pride Parade, this is how it all comes together. Vermin was there, and he was yelling. I believe he was there, and so he was definitely there, and he was calling them names and insulting them. But here's the thing. This is what I found interesting. Vermin makes this all a big joke. That's literally what these people are doing. I mean, they're showing up as clowns, as Pepe clowns, and this guy's got a pillow with, what is this, Sargon of Akkad as like a love interest anime cat. I don't know what it's called, man. It's a love pillow. It's not a body pillow. But this guy's painted his face green with red lips like Pepe the Frog, and it's all just a big joke. They're having a laugh. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if...
Yes. The right now has a sense of humor, thank God, but let's get to some of these comments. I think I skimmed over them before, which I normally don't do, but as I'm getting all of this up, it's inevitable. And some of the comments are just sad. Let's get to them. $5 says the organizers of the Straight Pride Parade get blamed for Antifa's actions because, quote, their existence antagonize Antifa or some such. Probably correct. Yiz, my favorite eunuch. My favorite eunuch of all, says, mission accomplished. The idiot woke left sure is yes. The idiot woke left sure is predictable. Yes, they're absolutely. You get a like, Yiz, because you're always dead on the money. Ciara and Brine, they don't want straight pride, meaning they are bigots. They have an issue with people's sexuality. It's funny, isn't it? These people who cried for years that we want to be treated equally, but then when anyone else wants the same thing, they protest. Yes, it is ironic. Then we get to some of the sad comments from Winston Smith. Tim refers to Vermin Supreme as someone from a time when all of the left embraced humor. However, just looking at Wiki and the parties he supported, he jumped around from party to party and at one time supported the Republicans. I can't call him a true left, but someone who is a bit odd. That being said, I disagree with him. The left were always humorless. Yeah, they were humorless as soon as they got into secure power under the Obama administration. Even dogs don't fall for this level of baiting. Shin Phil, Straight Pride Parade was a success and had the intended effect. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. They were laughing because they're telling everyone else to suck on Trump's schlong and take the balls while you're at it. It was really that simple, Tim. Ember says, I want that pillow. AOC is a retarded faggot for claiming the straight parade was meant for violence. Without straight sex, they wouldn't exist. Yes, Natalie, thank you for pointing the obvious. We understand that it was a joke. The left has no sense of humor and they got their feelings hurt. Since when has it been a crime to be straight? Yes, straight is a crime now. The bigotry is the bigotry is so large. You can't say that you're straight. It's sad. Proctor, here we go. Vermin Supreme may well represent a time when the left used satire in its arsenal. It was also a time when they had total control of the media, which meant they were the only game in town. This is also true. This is also true. This is a little bit more cerebral. Also, we have a lot of Tim Poole. So I don't get to pick what is top on Dissenter News. I just report on what the top comments are and what floats to the top. And Tim Poole, when it comes to the dissenters, is apparently the top of the game. So this is the Democrats are losing union support to Trump. The far left is not working class.
What's going on with labor unions and the Democrats, and it's just really confusing. Now let's start here. Far left protesters and the Democrats' far left push. Why is it that these protesters and Antifa that claim to represent the working class tend to be privileged elites who make over $100,000 a year, have college degrees, and come from the suburbs? That's not exactly what you would expect a union member to look like. In fact, they don't, and I have the data to show this. Since 2016, we have seen a push to Trump's policies from unions. Now, let's be real. Democrats still enjoy a ton, if not the overwhelming majority of union support, especially when it comes to financial contributions. Unions overwhelmingly give to Democrats. But it's starting to change. The unions haven't made an endorsement yet. They've pushed back on the Green New Deal. And now Trump is actually arguing with the head of the AFL-CIO because, well, they're actually considering supporting him. I don't understand what's happening, but it seems to be a weird, dramatic shift. Antifa, which claims to be communist, is siding with the establishment elites. I mean, they are privileged elites. They're not union members. We have this story from last year where actual construction workers came out and protested against the far left. I don't know what's going on, and I'll admit, I've tried recording this video now several times because it's just so confusing. Who represents labor? Well, I'd have to say the act.
Yeah, this is nothing new. Trump pushing populist policies is nothing new, and it's going to attract the union workers. So let's go over to the comments here. Unions are leftist festering grounds. Even to lose that only goes to show how the Dems lost the plot. Yeah, they've lost the economy argument. There's just no way around it. Remember when union members were forced to pay union dues that went to the Democratic Party? And you wonder why union members would turn away from the Democrats. Yes, that's exactly it. It's been a racket and a grift for the Democrats to have power over the unions. And it's about time that they started walking away from the Democratic Party. That's all I'm going to do for this one. And again, report New York Times journos left fatigued by endless social media controversies. Well, it's about bloody time. The legacy news organization has been rocked with endless Twitter controversies and have taken a toll on its employees. Let's see what they're talking about. Most prominently, neocon op-ed writer Bret Stephens has become a target of mockery after targeting a college professor, for calling him a bedbug on Twitter. The establishment media operative went on to delete his own Twitter account, claiming that the platform brought out the quote-unquote worst in humanity. Another longtime liberal centrist editor, John Weissman, was demoted by the New York Times after he used racially charged rhetoric when discussing freshman Democrats. A Times reporter, A.G. Sulzberg, sent a staff email about recent Twitter controversies involving Times employees. Okay, so basically, they're being held to account for their own personal bigotry the same way they've done to the right. My goodness. So, what does the dissenters have to say about this particular phenomenon? As we wait for the page to load. 1. No sympathy. You engage in smear campaigns, expect people to lash out at you. Boo effing who, live by the PC sword, die by the PC sword. Amen. New York Times journalists only get fatigued by social media controversies when they get turned around on them. In other words, they can dish it out, but they can't take it. No matter how 2020 turns out, the left is about to experience what it's like when the right really fights back. Everyone knows you don't poke the bear. But they have poked the bear. But they have poked and poked and poked the bear. Indeed. Huh, weird. I would have thought they lived for that shit, given the sheer number of social media controversies that have been weaponized against other people. New York Times, a former newspaper. Lord of Fire, are we supposed to feel sorry for them now, after all they've done to smear and even unperson regular people who they don't like? Now that they got a taste of their own medicine, they realize they don't like it. Hopefully, if people increase the pressure, these quote-unquote journalists will learn not to stick their noses where they don't belong. Well, amen. Amen. Now, on for our last segment here. It is, again, a video from Mr. Tim Poole. The left are using children as political shields, from Greta to Parkland kids. Let's take a listen.
Responds to criticism saying, when haters go after your looks and differences, you know you're winning. You know what? She's got a point. It's an ad hominem attack. And I think people who are criticizing Greta for being, autistic or for being goofy looking or whatever, you're losing, okay? You've lost. I completely agree with Greta. However, I also want to point out the strange phenomenon of Democrats being led by children. Why? I've always considered myself on the left, but shouldn't a mature adult be leading the charge? Well, it's politically expedient because, for one thing, when people criticize the ideas of Greta, like taking a boat across, the Atlantic and then having people fly across the Atlantic to bring it back is not carbon neutral. They say, stop attacking a child. Why do you have to go after children? Okay, dude, first of all, I'm an environmentalist, 100%. I love nature. I believe nature should be preserved. I am alarmed by deforestation. I have worked for several of the world's biggest environmental nonprofits, and one of these organizations is one of the biggest contributors to the Democrats. I believe in environmental policy, protection policy, because we live in a delicate ecosystem. I also believe you shouldn't be putting children in front of you in engaging in this political battle or walking behind a child because they don't have the experience to lead the charge. Think about it this way. I understand it's a political battle and people aren't going to get hurt necessarily. But could you imagine like an actual conflict?
And of course, he's absolutely right. Whereas the left uses children as political shields, the right is on record standing in front of our children, like the MAGA hat kid, like the transgender library situation, we stand in front of the children to protect them on the right hand, and the left, on the other hand, uses them as shields. But let's see what the dissenters have to say. Tim, what you said is all true, but I have proof that the Dims don't actually believe the quote-unquote you can't attack the kids talking points. Covington Catholic kids, end of story. Just like it is with race, sex, gender, sexual orientation, kids and every other cheap shield they use, they are hypocrites. True, he continues. They will use racial, sexual, gender, sexual orientation slurs and attack kids who dare to stray from the leftist orthodoxy. So they don't really believe it's wrong to slime those people with the worst of the worst slurs. They just believe it's wrong for the opposition to attack them at all. Very cogent point there. This reminds me of the heyday of the religious right when they would always use the excuse, won't someone think of the children? I believe the left figured the next logical step in that, quote, evolution was to literally use children to drill their agenda home. They don't seem to get what the right had to learn 20 plus years ago the hard way. People that use children as propaganda tools look like monsters. Well, let me add something to that math machine. At least the right was honestly sincere in trying to protect children, whereas the left are blatant hypocrites. Shinfil, again, he comments a lot on here. I'm gonna find out who you are, and we're gonna do an interview since you comment so often here on the Dissenter. Of course, the woke side would use children as shields. It evokes a primal instinct in humans that makes you want to protect them from danger, which is ironic here, since those clowns also support abortion, baby killing. Yep. Absurdly critical. No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, we get the basic of the basic here. And this is common sense, and, I like going through these comments because this is real America. This is real talk. This is the salt of the earth speaking from the dust, as it were. And so this is that was our Dissenter news for this week. I hope to see you next week. And don't forget, I have a Subscribe Star now, so go on there, click on the link, and, if there's anything else that I missed or that you would have liked to have seen in this video, go ahead and comment it in the comments section. And, I read every comment. I usually don't get that many, so go ahead and tell me what you think, guys, and we'll end it there. Alright, guys, real quick, if you guys like the channel, feel free to please leave a donation so we can keep the channel going. All donations go to support the channel, more equipment, better content. But if you don't want to just leave a donation, feel free to jump by Carnal's Menagerie. We sell basically t-shirts. If you have any kind of carnalism that you want to see on a t-shirt, please go ahead and leave it in the comments and I will get that uploaded for you. But guys, this is how you support the channel. Anyways, thank you guys as always, and just remember, stay carnal. Bye guys.